Imagine a league built by the people, for the people. A league dedicated to the economic development of your city. So the question becomes, how good are the 32 teams that play in the minor football league? Well, there's only one way to find out. You have to experience the MFL.
Welcome to another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Richard Myles Sr., founder, CEO, and chairman of the Minor Football League. I want to welcome y'all to a nice hot Wednesday. Don't forget, keep them face masks on. This pandemic is real and it's not going nowhere. So I want everybody to sit back and relax and listen to our show. It's going to be very exciting. So I want to also introduce my guest today, CEO, chairman, and founder of the Minor Football League, Mr. Richard Myles. That's me. I want everybody to know I've been here for a long time and I learned a lot. But anyway, I want to tell everybody be safe out there. And don't forget now, this pandemic is for real. Don't be listening to what people doing out there running around with no face mask, no gloves and stuff on, okay? Also have my guest today on, our dance team director, Ms. Lisa. I know she's up there in New York. I'm gonna bring her on right now. How you doing today?
Hi, how are you? I'm doing great.
I got you. Doing great, huh? Good. Absolutely. Tell me what's going on. I know we're talking about what's going on in MFL. A lot of people, we're getting a lot of people calling, a lot of people emailing us about when we're going to start. And as I told them, we're going to start in 21. Excuse me, we're not going to take that chance on these young people, nor will I take chance on people such as yourself, our staff, to go out there and start this season when we really don't need to rush anything. Also, I have our money guru, I call him, my co-host, Mr. Robert Gatewood. How you doing, Robert?
Hey, Miles, how you doing? Hey, Lisa, how you doing there?
How are you?
Wonderful,
Hey,
wonderful.
Robert, of course, everybody excited about, this season. Unfortunately, this season is not going to happen, but it gives us the chance to get everything else in place. And Robert, being the specialist you are in terms of people with business, you can understand why this is important for us to get things together. And I know Lisa have a lot to say. I know people ask about that dance team trials and stuff. Lisa, let's go with it. Let's go with Lisa. Lisa, I know everybody want to know when we're going to start, right?
Absolutely, yes. We've been getting a lot of inquiries, and we will be starting soon. We'll start to take some resumes on file, so anyone who is interested can start to send in headshots or email and send in inquiries. Can then go from there and let them know when we'll be starting and follow up with them as things progress.
Absolutely. And I also realize that some parts of the country open up faster than others, Robert, but we don't want to be misled about that. We're going at the same time. We still want to make sure that everything we do is very uniform and together. We don't want, it's like, excuse the phrase, we don't want to drag our slip. You know what I mean, Robert? We don't want our slip showing and we're not really ready to do the things that we want to do. And I know, are you ready to do all this traveling you're going to be doing, Lisa? Of course, we have a new franchise. There have been 2 new franchises in Texas. So you're going to be moving around a lot, huh?
Absolutely, yes. I will be traveling a lot, and I'm very excited. I want to be hands-on. I want to be at the location where we have our teams, meet the dancers, let them know what we're all about, let them feel like they have a connection to someone, so they know that if there are any issues, that there's someone there leading them. So it's really important for me to be involved. I'm really excited. I can't wait to meet all the GMs and get the dance teams up and running. I plan to do a bunch of workshops ahead of time before we hold auditions. This gives the dancers a good chance to kind of get a feel for what they'll be in for when they actually do go into an audition. So all that information I'll be putting out there when the time comes. Right now, our focus is making sure that people stay healthy, making sure that we have a good hold on, and some sort of, everyone's doing the trial and error, how we're gonna start opening up and doing events again. So there's no clear-cut way of doing it right now. Everything's kind of a trial and error, and we don't want to put our athletes at risk.
Absolutely. We definitely don't want to put no one out there like that, because we have a lot that we're going to do. Also, Robert, why is it so important that we go about this thing the right way? As you know, Robert, it's he makes sure that everybody understand the business side of this, and why it's important to have an opportunity to own a minor professional franchise, and why people should not be afraid at this time. I know these are some trying times, no question about that, because the norm is gone. The norm is over with, and I try to say that all the time, Robert. But I still don't think people are getting it, Robert.
Well, you've made a couple of good points. One thing we want to understand: the timing is important. Some people want to rush this thing, but I go back to supply chain economics. And that's why you have to do it the correct way. You may be ready to do something, but there are other industries that are affected. There's a downline and there's an upside. So you can't start, for instance, you can't go out here and start selling water if nobody has buckets to put it in. So so there's a supply chain. And that's why when people are rushing this process, they forget the chain of supplies. And sometimes you can't go up the chain, you can't go down the chain. So you have to be strategic. And I think you're making a good move by putting this off to 2021. But that doesn't mean you stop working. That means you're strategic. You're looking at your supply chain. You're looking at the players. You're looking at the dance team. You're looking at the vendors. You're looking at the venues. All of these have to be taken into consideration, because the MFL and no organization operates in a vacuum. We are in a global economy. It used to be even just the United States, but we have to look at what's happening around the world. And particularly now, because the NFL has a footprint in Africa. So you got to look at all of these things in concert when you're making this decision to reopen your industry. So Lisa's exactly right. You're exactly right that we have to do this the right way. And I think that having this extra time, things happen for a reason. This timing is actually give the MFL a chance to put all these ducks in a row, get all these dancers, get all these players, all these GMs. And when 21 rolls around, MFL is going to be ready. No question in my mind.
Absolutely. And we definitely, always say it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, Robert. We want to really take our time. And I guess that's why we're looking forward to celebrating our 20 years of existence. And we want to do that right. And right now, everybody asks me about that. So when are y'all, that's not important right now. What's important, we want to make sure that they have a cure for this. Secondly, we want to make sure they know what it is, because we still don't know what it is, because you gave it the name, the COVID-19. That don't mean you know what it is. That's just something that we named it, And these are the type of things that I take serious, and we're in the business of football and as a whole, the laboratory of change, and we'll go into that a little more. But also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention about the other things that's going on in the world, Robert. I mean, I think that, I'm all for protesting, as long as it's not, violent protesting. And I just feel like we definitely need to keep the pressure up. And I think we all can occur with that. How you feel about that, Lisa?
Well, I agree 100%. We definitely are in a year of change right now. There's so much going on from the pandemic and now with people stepping up and speaking. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it's time. I think people need to be heard. People are tired. And I think if we do it correctly, the same way as reopening, if we do it properly, then change can happen. Long-term change. We don't just want to see change in a short-term period. It lasts maybe 2 years, or it's just kind of under the surface. You want to see this something that we put to rest and can move forward and grow all together. That's how I feel.
Absolutely. And before I go to Robert, I also want to give him some new updates, because that's the purpose of going to our website and watching our show. And we appreciate everybody that watch our show on Wednesdays and Fridays, and of course listen to the radio show on Saturday mornings at 11. But I also want to say the fact that the MFL have shifted some of the organization, some of the franchise in terms of what we feel that would be best for the MFL. As you know, the shift was the Cardinals leaving Ohio and they're going to Texas. Okay, so it'll be the Texas Cardinals now. Also, we will take and move the Kansas Cowboys from Kansas, and they will be the Oklahoma Cowboys now. So I want everybody to take that. That's all on the website, but we like to give people updates, y'all. Also, we want to move the Rams from Nebraska, and they'll be going to Texas as well. And then, as you know, we and for the people up in I appreciate the support that we had there with up in there with the Packers up there in Colorado Packers. The Colorado Packers now will be moved to, they would be going to Louisiana. They would be there down in New Orleans. So, and also we have the Saints will be out in in New Mexico as well. So that's the movement the MFL made that we want to bring people up to date on, because we want to put these franchises in place that we know that it's a need there, and we want to go where it's a need at. And I think that would be that's a great move for us. And how do you feel about that, Robert?
Well, you hit on one of the 4 P's of marketing, which is place. So location is very important, and it's part of a strategy. It's part of your overall strategy. Right. And of course, you can never underplay the importance of your location, your geographic location. And the other type you were hitting on was the timing of all the things that's going on right now. We have the pandemic, which is still wreaking havoc. We're seeing numbers spike, but we're also seeing this social change taking place across the country. And like Lisa said, it's about everything has to be done together and in concert and timed properly. And I'm really proud to see some of corporate America stepping up to the plate. Like this past Friday, a number of companies recognized Juneteenth as a national holiday, and they're giving their staff off paid as a paid holiday. That's a step in the right direction. We see the Georgia Marching Band, now they're playing Georgia on My Mind instead of Gone with the Wind. So you're seeing NASCAR banning the Confederate flag, and statues are coming down. Google committing $175 to racial equality. So you're seeing we have to do this because racism doesn't just affect Black people. It affects everybody. It makes the country less than whole. And so when we see these companies stepping up to the plate, and we see our young people out in the street, like you said, Miles, we don't want them destroying property and further hurting the neighborhood that are already in disrepair. We want to see substantive, positive change. Let's go out and register people to vote. Let's start supporting the businesses in our community. Let's support these companies that are making the right decisions. So we can do this, but like anything else, whether just like playing football, you got to have a strategy, and your strategy has to be solid and grounded in fact and reality and a possible positive outcome.
Listen, Robert, sounded like a daggone coach there. I don't know, Robert. Don't be trying to go out there and coach nothing, Robert.
Hey man, I'm getting my MFL cap like you. I'm gonna be out there on the field before it's over.
Oh, wow. Lisa, I have to ask you, what's the census up there in New York? I mean, we know you're up in New York, and I know y'all was hit really bad. Is it what is the census? Is it loosening up there somewhat? Tell us about, what's the census up there now?
So I live closest to the city. We were the last part of New York to reopen. As of today, I believe the 3 states, New Jersey, Connecticut, and New York, are working together. And they currently, because of the spikes in the other states and in other areas, they have come to the conclusion that anyone coming or traveling from a hotspot should be quarantined for 14 days. Because currently, New York, which started out, as everyone knows, as one of the highest number of cases and the hottest spot, currently is now at an all-time low. And that is with, it started with the upper regions reopening and carefully monitoring and not going and rushing forward, just letting everybody go free. Everyone is free, but just taking their time and really trying to follow the numbers. So to make sure that things are progressing in the right direction, people continue to follow, the distancing and wearing the masks. And as long as everyone can do that, you're talking New York City where people are on the subway. You have millions of people traveling and in congested areas. So if we can keep those numbers down by doing the right thing, then there's no reason why other states cannot follow it and do the same. It's really on the people. It's on the people to do the right thing. The same thing where everyone is protesting for change. We all need to do our part. It cannot just be on the surface though. So, to make that change on the surface and look like you're doing the right thing, whether you're wearing a mask and then you take it off when no one's watching, it doesn't help. It doesn't help because eventually it will creep up and show its ugly face again. So everyone needs to pull together. If we're in this together. So
that's a good point, Lisa.
And absolutely, and it's easier said than done. And as you know, Robert is right there out in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. And I have to give it to her. My hats off, kudos to the mayor down here in Washington, D.C., because she is taking her time. She's not letting anybody bully her or anything like that. She's taking her time and start this phase thing. I think we're in phase 2 now. And I just like her, the fact that she will not be bullied by 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I like that. So kudos to the mayor here in Washington, D.C., Mayor Bowser. So hands up. And Robert, out there in the suburbs, and I know Angela Albrook, a friend of mine, along with the state's attorney Aisha Braid Ford, used to be a part of their MFL. Hats off to them because I think they're doing a yeoman job too. What's the census out there? Because I know Maryland opening up, but give us kind of a census of what's going on there, Robert, if you may.
Well, there's like in most parts of the country, there's a gradual reopening. The malls are opening, the restaurants are opening. People are, but I'm telling you, Miles, I've seen so many different variations of people accepting or rejecting the advice of the CDC and the elected officials. Like we have the National Harbor right here, right up the street, and it's a very hot spot. You go through there. I drove through there on Sunday. I think about a 50-50 people with their mask on, with their mask off. Some were in groups, so I'm hoping they were all family members and they had vetted each other. But I think we're seeing people are kind of in like a undecided phase. They definitely have what do you call it? Lockdown fatigue. They just want to get out. And then once they get out, they get comfortable. And I'm afraid, and I hope this doesn't happen, that people get too relaxed. you're going to start seeing a resurgence in Maryland as well, because Maryland was one of the states where there's actually a decline. We haven't seen the spike that we're seeing in some of the other places. And so I hope they maintain that. Even when you're doing your protests, take your mask with you. I'm all in favor of getting out there and voicing your opinion and protesting for change, but don't let your guard down. And so you're fighting the pandemic of racism while you're letting the pandemic of COVID-19 sneak up and get you in the back. So you got to fight these pandemics on all fronts.
Absolutely. And I think we're so easy to forget one thing for another thing. And we need to be aware that this is not over.
Not over.
You know, Lisa, before we start getting into the business of the MFL, I just want to go to you again. And, you know, how these young ladies get in contact with you? What is the age you want to go with? And just give them a little bit synopsis of that, Lisa, while you're here.
Yes. So dancers can reach me easily by email at livfitk@gmail.com, or they can follow me on my Instagram or Facebook, same livfitk@gmail.com. And absolutely should reach out and can go on to the MFL website and check out. And there's a questionnaire. They can put an inquiry and message or even call. I am looking for dancers, preferably out of high school, in college. I am not really discriminating against age, because I feel that there are some phenomenal dancers who are older and may have not had the opportunity to step out and show their best part of themselves in their performance. And so I'm not going to put an age limit necessarily. If you can make the cut, you can make the cut. If you can do the dance and the routine and keep up with, you know, if you're 30 and you can keep up with the 20-year-olds, which I've seen, you are welcome. And I actually encourage you to come out and participate. I think it will be such a great experience for you.
And absolutely. And we want them to understand the fact that it's good to have someone with more, more maturity. If I put that, I hope I'm not, people take that the wrong way, because, you know, we have had girls to go on to the Redskins, the Ravens, the Wizards. So, you know, we have had young ladies. So, you know, at least know what she's looking for. And we're looking for people that understand. We're not looking for cheerleaders that flip. That's not what this is. We look for dancers. And the main thing is it gives you an opportunity. That's why the MFL is a laboratory of change, because of the changes and stuff we made, and the opportunity come with this all. And Robert will go into that a little more in terms of, and just like as far as business, you know, we have a great opportunities here for people, be it coaching, GM, you know, ownership. I let Robert go into that. And the reason Robert co-hosts the show and everything, because he brings the business aspect to this. And we want people to understand this is the time to not back up. This is the time to go forward. And Robert will go into why it's important that you take this opportunity to own the franchise. Don't think it's out of your reach now, Robert. A lot of people think when you talk about ownership, it's out of their reach. No, it's not. Now that job you was going to that paid that big salary is no longer there. Now you see you with 20 million other people trying to get unemployment, and you worked all your life. So I just like to say this is the safest thing, and Robert will tell you why. Not because I own the MFL, because it gives you an opportunity to own something. Robert, maybe you can expand on that for us.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. And first, I want to say to Lisa, the fact that she's opening, she's not limiting her search for people of a certain age, because ageism is one of those things we need to shy away, like most of the isms. So the fact that she's opening up to,
you know, I'm getting ready to turn 65, Robert, Saturday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See,
so, you know, I'm glad they ain't turned away, because, you know, they gave an old man like me would not have had this opportunity to found this organization. But go ahead, Robert. I just had to throw that.
I mean, you look at somebody like Angela Bassett, almost 60 years old. Man, I would have her on my dance team any day.
Uh-huh.
So we can't. So Lisa, I take my hat off to you for that. Any of the isms, ageism, classism, racism, we need to avoid those at all costs. And because the MFL is a laboratory of change, and the fact that it opened its doors up to women GM, the women owners, so you're really following a good pattern that's already been set by the MFL. So I'm glad to see you continuing that positive trend. As far as ownership, well, I tell you what, this is a story I like to tell. Miles and Lisa, when people talk about buying a franchise or some business, they always talk about the cost. But what they fail to realize that when they start something from scratch, they pay the same cost. They just stretch it out over 20 years. And then what they run into a likelihood of obsolescence. Because if you, let's say, just be hypothetical, let's say you bought a business for $100,000. People say, oh my God, I can't afford that. So they start a business from scratch. And I'm not knocking people who start a business from scratch. By the time you add the marketing, advertising, operation costs, staff, and so forth, you're going to spend that and more. You're just going to spread it over a longer period of time. And the problem with that is because success in businesses and industries have what we call a shelf life or expiration date. They run into the industry life cycle. So what you started a few years ago, because you're doing the slow walk, by the time you get to the point where it's time to be viable and profitable, that industry has shifted to a point where you can't even recognize it anymore. So this is just one of the subtle reasons why you do a franchise, because you cut that curve. You're either going to succeed or fail. I hate to say it, there's always a possibility of failure, but with a franchise, traditionally, they have about a 90% success rate. Whereas a business you're starting from scratch, we're talking about less than 10%. So the math works in your favor when you're looking at buying something that's turnkey, that's been proven, has support systems, brand establishment. So that's a very good reason in a generic sense is why you should consider a franchise versus starting from scratch. Now, everybody wants to start their own business from the scratch. You know, they got these good sentimental reasons, you know, grandma and grandpa and my uncle did it and this and that and the other. I say congratulations. I support you. And matter of fact, that's the majority of my clients. But there are some people that are sitting on a nice little pot of gold. They don't have the time to get down here in the trenches and try to start up a business from scratch. Either their age won't let them, their experience may not let them, their business acumen may not let them. That's why you start looking at something that's already established and up and running. You shorten that curve, you go ahead and invest the time, the money versus investing the time. So that's why it becomes a personal decision. You have to look at where you are, how you're situated financially, your experience, how much time you have, how fast you want to succeed. All of these things have to be put into that barrel and shaken up. And then you lay it out on the table in a strategic manner and make an informed decision on the ownerships and the merits of owning a franchise. I'm glad you have put this opportunity together, Miles, because right now, and without pulling the race card, right now black is hot. You have a league that's run by an African American, and most of the players and GMs and not saying anybody, and Lisa, bless your heart, anybody. The MFL is open to all. It's open to all. It's an equal opportunity employment. But that doesn't change the fact that the fact that you are leading it, people are now looking at organizations that are led by black, that have a black face, in a more positive, and they're more receptive now than ever before. And that's due to the fact that we have people who are progressive thinking like Miles and Lisa, and we have people out on the street who are protesting and making these changes, NASCAR. So people are giving organizations like the MFL a harder look. This is a good time. This probably is as good a time as any to start looking at the MFL as a business opportunity.
And I'm glad you said that, Robbie, because we did get a call from a young gentleman, Mr. James. His last name escaped me. He's up there in New York, Syracuse, New York, and he called me and he said he's interested in buying a franchise. And we talked about it briefly. He said because he get ready to build a 30,000 seat stadium and stuff. Wow. He said I'd like to go, to Rochester. I say, well, Rochester already have a GM and owner there. So, but he had called and he was interested in And doing that and looking at this, he said, I looked at your website and I'm shocked that, is this new? And, I was saying, no, it's new to you, but it's not new. But it just goes to show what you were saying earlier. Now people have an opportunity to take time and look at this thing.
Right.
Sometimes anything we don't understand, we have a tendency to be afraid of it. Oh, well, I don't know about that, because you never took the time to research it. Okay, because you got all these other things coming at you now. Now those things are being put on hold now. The NFL are trying to get together. They're trying to do this in basketball. They're trying to do this in baseball. But it's like the Lord said, wait a minute, not so fast. Y'all hold on now. Okay, so now the MFL said, hey, we're going to take our time. We're going to make sure everybody's safety is more importantly. We will move to 2021. Now everybody got a chance to look at this thing now. Robert said, wait a minute, I didn't know about that, And me and Robert talk all the time and stuff, And now, as you know, these people looking at this more now and say, wait a minute, I didn't know that. We put a lot of money in our site and our social. You can almost just sneeze and the MFL will come up now. So now it answer every question that people had for us. They answer, and I give it to Robert for Robert been with us for almost a year now, Robert, and Robert been very instrumental in helping us with the business part of it and understanding that people now they see and they're saying to themselves, wait a minute, I could do that. Now what Robert telling you, and I'm in your ear, make people like Robert, they're like, wait a minute, I think I could do this. You know what I mean? Because now we got to stop being so afraid of doing. Why we are so afraid, Robert, and I'm going to get to you, Lisa, in a second, because I like to, but why are we so afraid, Robert, to take a chance? But you took that chance on that job you don't have no more. You know what I mean? You got complacent. Why are they so afraid, Robert?
Well, it's not coincidental. There's some really insidious forces who work almost around the clock to make sure that mindset remains in fear, question, self-doubt. And so we have to, people like yourself, people like me, people like Lisa, we have to be out here and on the forefront, reminding people, educating people, motivating people, letting them know that they can do this. The problem with most societies where there are bad people in charge of things, they get the big mouthpiece. They get they're the loudest voice. And so when you're bombarded constantly with, I can't do it, it's somebody else, there's the other, you don't have time to focus on your own capabilities and the things that you're able to do and the obstacles that you're able to overcome. So that's why it's important that we have an MFL radio show, that we have my show, The Marketing Pulpit, and other shows like that, reminding people that, yes, you can do this. This is not outside of your reach. So I hear what you're saying about why people feel like they're afraid to take a risk. They feel like they can't do it. But we also have to give some credit to the forces that they're up against. They're really a concerted effort to keep a underclass, a working class, supporting the billionaire class. And if everybody decides to go out here and be aggressive and progressive and entrepreneurial like the people on this screen, then who's going to sit down here and do that grunt work? Who's going to be doing that slave labor? So you have to keep somebody down there to do this kind of work. And so the best way to do that is to have them believing that this is as high as they can go. And then every now and then somebody breaks out of the pack and they realize, you know what, I could have done this all along. We have to be that voice that lets people know it's always in their ear. You can do this. You can do this. And then eventually we will start seeing movement. And like I said, once again, Myles and Lisa, right now we're at a milestone point. We're at a turning point in history. Right now, we have these protests going on. We have this pandemic. This is like a reset button. We have a second chance now to do things right. We have the attention of the country. We have the young people and the old people, Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, on the same page for the first time since I don't know when. We need to grab this moment, and anybody who's sitting on the sideline saying, I can't do it, you're not paying attention. You can do whatever you want to right now with this new start.
And it's so ironic that you say that, and it's true. And when I met Lisa, and Lisa, a very successful business entrepreneur, she did what a bodybuilding stuff. But Lisa, was it that hard for you, or you just feel like, hey, this is something I'm going to do? I mean, not just the MFL, but your business as a whole and what you do. I mean, was it that hard for you, or you just feel like, hey, this is what I'm going to do?
I always had that drive to push myself and not be afraid of challenges. There are a lot of people, though, out there who are not comfortable with that. So predictable misery for them is better than trying something new. So if you can find the support, which I think this is a great opportunity, and why I like this mission and why I'm excited to be a part of it, is because you're educating people. People can look up to you. People can see that this is possible. By going into these communities, young people who could never maybe see themselves in a position of being an owner, a business owner, or an entrepreneur, come in and they see people, okay, maybe you didn't make it to Broadway, but look at you now. Look at you're outperforming for the MFL, and you're a dancer and you're being scouted. So you always have to constantly open doors for yourself and not be afraid to grow. There's always going to be someone looking to keep you, like Robert mentioned, keeping you complacent, keeping you in the same position, but you have to know your self-worth, and you need to push yourself and not be afraid to make a change.
And absolutely. And I always found out that, you're going to fall down in life. That's just the nature of the beast. But you have to ask yourself, are you going to sit down here, or are you going to get up? I was always one that said I was a maverick. And for those people who don't know what that is, a maverick is the type of person, I'll worry about getting back when I get there, but I'm going to do so good, won't be no need for me to come back. So I always thought in terms of those lines, Robert, because I always feel like, and Robert can contest to this, as well as Lisa. I always know to be a good strategist in business, you got to understand a few things. What the product, is it a need for the product? How does the product benefit people other than yourself? How do other people benefit from it? So that's what the MFL is. We offer jobs, laboratory change, you talking about jobs, internship, ownership, coaching, GM position. We're going to show you how to do what you see all these people with your jaw drop when you see all these people in these limousines and the lights flashing and everything, and you envying them, and it could be you. It's just a matter of, I always say, concept. You got to have a concept. Robert, a concept. And people don't understand that. I get so many people call me now. They want to know what's the secret of the MFL. It ain't no secret. If it's one thing you're not going to do is outwork me. But I'll tell people in a minute, I believe in working smart, not hard. You know what I mean, Robert? And I think that you can expand on that a little more. I just feel that, it's nothing we can't do. People tickle me when they say, well, man, I'm tired. You tired? I said, when you're dead, you get all the rest you want. You know what I mean? This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. So when people you say that to me, it kind of irritates me, but I understand that that's the mentality of some people, Robert, and they just had me laughing because I'm like, but you want to envy other people that are doing something. Why not envy yourself? I was interviewed earlier, I think last week, and the young lady said, well, who's your hero? Who you always look up to? I said, me. And, she it got cricket because I guess she was expecting me to say somebody else. No, I envy me because I know what I'm going to do, what I'm capable of doing. And one thing about me, I'm not going to give up. So, to envy somebody else, I mean, I respect other people, but, I don't envy anybody but myself, And I tell people all the time, stop looking at athletes as role models. they had some of them, you see the glory of it all. You don't know about the story, behind it. And I don't think you would look at him totally different when you find out the story behind it. That's why they have people take such a low opinion of athletes when they find out something on them. But don't forget where these guys come from, Robert, and I know you probably want to expand on that, Robert. In terms of the business, I reach out and I'm gonna call all these former players out and current players. It's time to own something. I ain't talking about that car you went, them 5 cars you bought because you can't drive for one of them. I ain't talking about them 4 houses you ain't gonna be able to stay in one of them at a time. All these chains, and I tell people, we came over here in chains, Robert. Now, why would we finally got them off, and you gonna go buy chains with diamonds in it that wear on your neck, just like them big old chains that you seen the slaves come over here with. I don't understand the rationality of that, man. And I'm not gonna, fear when I was young, I bought stuff, but not to that extent, man. We need generational wealth. Before I pass it on to Robert, we got to leave something to our kids. You know what I mean? We stood on people's shoulders. Now it's time for people to stand on our shoulders, and we got to own something, Robert.
Well, you're exactly right. And I think one of the challenges, and it's the same, it's an opportunity also, is for people to have to get in touch with their purpose and why they are doing certain things. And I think a lot of times we see athletes who are buying chains and they can't buy enough cars, and they haven't really identified or at least locked into their purpose as to why they're on this planet. And then once they realize, like many people like LeBron in the NFL or Russell Wilson in the NFL, these guys, they're using sports as the means to an end. Their goal in life was not to grow up necessarily to play basketball or football. They had a bigger purpose, and they're wisely using that talent and that gift that they have to get them closer to their purpose and their goal in life. And that's why I like to see people who, when I'm talking to people, whether they're athletes or attorneys or CPAs, I tell them to look, I know what you're doing right now, but what is your goal in life? What is your reason for being, your raison d'etre, as the French say? What is your purpose for being on this earth? And once you put that question to them, they start to realize that some of this stuff they're doing is not that important. Like you say, how many cars can you drive at one time? To me, that's somebody who's lost their purpose or really never had a purpose, or they had a purpose, nobody really connected their purpose to what they're actually doing. So I think what we're seeing is when we start looking at people who are going out to buy a franchise or go into any type of business, when you get into their underlying purpose, you may realize that what they're doing is actually different than what they're actually working on, because they have a greater goal in mind. And so when I always put my hand up, my head off to people like LeBron. I noticed lately he was talking about he was going to start producing. And you look at Russell Wilson, he has all these charities and organizations that he's doing good things for, and quite a few, Aaron Rodgers, other people. They have a bigger purpose. And so when you're looking at a business, whether it's a franchise, whether it's the MFL, you still have to connect that to why are you on this earth. See, I discovered probably later in life than most people, because I too was caught up into the cars and I wanted to buy the latest clothes. And then one day it hit me. I think I had an experience. I was working in a store and somebody tied me up in the back room. I thought they were going to kill me. I came out of there with just a new appreciation of life and started realizing what was important. And I realized that my goal in life, I was put on this earth to help businesses, to help people grow and succeed in business. And I have not wavered from that. That is why right now I'm sitting here talking to Richard Myles and Lisa on this radio show, because it aligns with my mission. I am what we call a self-actualizer. That means you're doing what you're on this earth to do. And I think if we get more business owners to let's put the money aside for a minute. Yes, we all want as much money as we can make. We want to build legacy, pass money down to our kids. But you have to put the cart before the horse, or the horse before the horse, whichever one. You have to put it in the right order. You get your purpose right, the money will come. The money will come. So I have to talk about mindset as I talk about economics too, because the two, you can't separate the two. They don't operate in a vacuum.
And how to tell our listener audience, that's the purpose of us. We got together and we said we're going to do this thing live. Radio is radio, but it's nothing like seeing you, Robert. How can everybody get in contact with you, Robert?
Well, first of all, you can catch me here on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock on the MFL, where I co-host with Richard Myles and Kelsey Nicole Nelson and the rest of the crew. What's the attorney over there? What's his name? I keep getting
Mel Forbes.
Mel Forbes and Dave Garnett and
yeah, we got everybody. Charles Olawale, Fred Smoot, Jamie Dukes. We have a lot of people. Bobby Wilson. It's like a who's if you want to talk about people a part of this thing. It's not just me. As you see, I got Robert, but go ahead, finish. Tell me how to contact you, Robert.
And then on every Friday morning, I'm at the Marketing Pulpit radio and TV show, where we have a very large listening. We are Radio One out of Silver Spring. We're also live on Facebook. We're on Twitter Live, and we're on YouTube Live. So every Friday at 10:30 a.m., we bring in a fantastic lineup of guests and co-hosts, and we talk about things that are important in the success of a business. We take a very holistic approach. We approach the financial aspects, the psychological aspects, the spiritual aspects, the health aspects, because we understand it takes a whole person to be a successful business owner. So we approach all of those different aspects of a business owner. So you go to marketingpulpit.com and you can find out all of the listening options and how to reach the show and how to become a guest, how to sponsor. Also, my company, Gatewood Marketing and Web, we are a full-service advertising and web agency. You can find out more about that by going to gatewoodmarketing.com.
Absolutely. And Lisa, we're not going anywhere, but we wanted you to just give them that information, how to contact you for all the dancers that's interested, or the ones that, say, hey, let me give this a try.
Yes, they can reach out to me on livfitk@gmail.com. It's LIVFIT, FITK @gmail.com. They can follow me on Instagram at LiveFitK. They can reach out to the MFL. They can shoot me a text message, or best way I would say is email. I'm really great at responding. I definitely get back to everyone. And they can follow on Facebook. But also, just email an inquiry into the MFL. Go to MFL's website and enter a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. And we're not going anywhere. We're going to dive into a little more, but also you can reach us. Our Facebook page, our website is mflishere.com. We're on all the different social media platforms. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're on all of those different, we're taking, and Robert made sure that we're on all the different social media platforms. And I tell Robert all the time, thank God for social media. Right, Robert?
Yeah, social media is the equalizer.
There you go.
It is definitely the equalizer.
There you go. And we definitely appreciate everybody that listened to us. We go live at Wednesday from 5 to 6 and Fridays from 5 to 6 and Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock on DC Radio. We come on Saturday mornings, the Office of Cable and Television, the Office, of the DC government. We are excited about the MFL, and we want everybody to just come experience what we're doing. We're talking about economic development here. We got so many people calling us and inquiring, but it's a lot better now, Rob, because they don't call and ask me question now because everything is there. We answer all their questions and stuff. Everything they want to ask or think about asking is right there on the website. Well, so when they call us, the only thing they really basically want to say is, what can I do to help or be a part of that? And we're excited about that. But also, I want people to understand that the MFL, we are excited about 25 years. That's a long time, Robert. That's a long time. We still here, Robert. They're talking about the XFL coming back. They're talking about the Alliance Football League, but they gone. We still here, Robert. And the only people got the time on us is the NFL. They got 75 years on us, Robert. We still here, Robert.
It's like the old tortoise and the hare. Well, we see who won in the end. We've seen a lot of hares come and go. But what is the old saying? It's not The race is not always to the swift, nor the fight to the strong, but he who endureth to the end. Man, I'm telling you, hanging into that staying power, I see. You definitely don't have to wait another 25 years. I see that light really is right there. It's just right there in grabbing distance. So this is a good time to be a part of the MFL. If anybody had any second thoughts, now is the time. The time is right.
And I always think about when I was young, I was really interested in playing football. I said, I'm going to be that guy that they cheer about. Being selfish because not understanding what the big picture was to it, Robert. You know, it was like you said, it was a means to end. I read this book, and it was by Vince Lombardi, and it always resonated in my mind all the time. He had a line in there say, "He who pays the price." You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
He who pays the price. You know, if you want to be a champion, you want to be good at anything you do, you have to pay a price. So people always think, and you know, Robert, I mean, you can attest to this. That, hey, I tell people all the time, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. You know, if it was easy, everybody be doing it. What do you say?
Well, everything has almost a business and a financial foundation. In business, we call that a threshold to entry or barriers to entry. If you want to get into something where you almost sure to fail, get into something that has a low threshold. That means anybody can do it. If you want to get into something that's going to be out of business in a couple of weeks, get into something that everybody is doing that is easy to do. That's why restaurants, they have a high threshold because everybody can't run out here and start a restaurant. Same thing with what you're saying, Myles. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But that works in your favor because you have created what we call barriers to entry. That means nobody's going to run out here and just start tomorrow and start an MFL franchise or a professional franchise. It's just not going to happen. Once again, that's why you're in a good solid position. You have created those barriers to entry. It took you 25 years. All of that counts towards creating that barrier, the threshold. That is one of the hallmarks of a successful business, one that can create barriers to entry.
Lisa?
Yeah, I can't agree with Robert more, you know, and what you say is so true. A lot of people, if you want to be great, you have to reach out and you have to go get it. It's not going to just come to you. It takes a lot of work and tenacity to keep going. If you don't have that spirit, it's not going to happen. It won't happen. You may try to push yourself, but you have to have that drive. Has to come from inside. And like you said before, a lot of people get they get thrown by the noise outside. So they get caught up in the noise and they lose sight of what their purpose is. So yeah, absolutely. You have to stay focused. You need to do a lot of soul searching, right, self-reflecting, look inside yourself and be able to let everything else go and follow and believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, no one's going to push you. You can have cheerleaders, but ultimately it's you who needs to do the work.
And I often tell people, please don't listen to your friends, because your friends be the first one to tell you can't do something. I'm Robert.
That is so true.
And I had people laughing at me because I think of the life is y'all remember the Wizard of Oz. You remember the story, the Wizard of Oz movie, right? With Dorothy in it, right? But as opposed to just looking at the movie for the theatrical part of it, listen, it was telling you about life. The girl wanted to go home. The scarecrow wanted the brain. Excuse me. The Tin Man wanted the heart, and the lion wanted the carriage. You would need all of those elements, all of those intangibles to be successful in life. Do y'all agree with me, or do you understand what I mean by that, Lisa? Excuse me.
Yeah, and you need to face the fear and do it anyway, which was, the Wizard of Oz, having to face what you were afraid of. Many times people are just too afraid.
And I always laugh, Robert, if I bring you in on this, Robert, I say the scarecrow was the smartest dumb person I ever laid eyes on. You know,
Yeah.
he always came up with the idea to get them out of whatever jam they're in. And then when you go to the Tin Man, he won the heart. But he was so concerned about everybody in the group, even over himself, so that he had more heart than he thought. And as mighty as the line was, he lacked in what? Courage. And he really didn't understand courage is something, man, you know. And the Dorothy wanted to go home. You want to go home when you're really home all the time.
Amen.
You know, but the sense of home to her was something totally different than we wanted, Robert. I'll let you expand on that before we close out.
Well, the movie Wizard of Oz was full of parallels and irony, and I think the biggest irony was the wizard himself. He was this guy. He was all fluff. He was all front and no substance. And once he was uncovered, and Dorothy brought him down to earth, and he had to do some self-reflecting himself. So I think that's a good lesson, a really good note, kind of ties up things here. We have to look in the mirror sometime and look behind the curtain and find out who's really running things and find out what we have inside of us. And so that's why it's a good movie, and it's a good full of parallels and full of lessons. And I think every time, and I just my advice to anybody quickly, when you're looking at a movie, regardless of the movie, look for the lesson in the movie. We like the entertainment value, but practically even sometimes you can find lessons that even the writer himself hadn't even thought about. So when I look at movies, whether it's the Wizard of Oz or anything, I'm always looking for the lesson. And if it's not a lesson there, I go ahead and create one myself.
There you go. And like I said, you know, we want people to experience the MFL. We looking for interns. We want guys in broadcast journalism. We want guys in marketing, PR. We looking for people in graphic arts. We looking for young men that are interested in sports management. You know, we want to give these people an opportunity. If you want intern coaching opportunity, we have that available for you. And as Robert, along with Lisa and Robert, we had some dynamic people on this daggone board that we had, and a part of the MFL. All you got to do is go look at the front office. The front office is like a who's who of people you might have heard of but never seen, and you get an opportunity to see them. And everybody has something that you can take away with this. I'm so happy when we had the interns to come all the way from USC down, and they had an opportunity to experience MFL. And we tell people all the time, just come and experience the MFL. All we want you to do is come in. You have to experience this. You know what I mean? You can't just come in and peek. You have to come in and experience the MFL. Because if you get an opportunity to experience it, then you will find out that you'll say, hey, maybe this is a piece of the puzzle we've been missing. And I will continue to say this all the time. And I know this broadcast is seen around the world. That's the power of social media. Well, you know, I'm just calling all these former players out. You're talking about owning something. This is your opportunity to own a professional franchise that's yours. This is the opportunity if you want to understand business part. You have an opportunity. We are interviewing for jobs as far as GMs, coaching, head coaching. This is where you get that set. This is where you get your start at. You know, I tell people we're not a second chance league. We're the first chance league. And like I say, once we done, I want to say my hats off to Africa. We going there. They've been treating us so nice with open arms. They were so excited, and we had to put things on hold, but they're smart enough to understand that, hey, it gives us a chance to get things ready, prepared. As you know, we do 2 live shows, Wednesdays and Fridays. We always have our connection with the African country over there. We always have people on from Africa to give everybody, because this is inside the MFL, give them an idea of what's going on with this. Lisa, you got your shots and everything? You got
yes, I'm good. I'm up to date.
Robert, you got your passport, Robert?
I'm working on it.
Yeah, because we're coming. We're coming, and I always say that this is great, man. We get a chance to go back. You know, a lot of people take this lightly, but I don't, Robert. We get a chance to go back, Robert. You know what I mean? We get a chance to go back.
Yeah, that was in I think it's Kenya. There's a place called Maison des Claves. It's like the point of that place of no return when you go out into the sea to Africa.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
They never thought we'd come back, Myles, but look out.
Right? right? And
Yeah.
that's the exciting part of it, that we going back. And I want to say to you guys that work with the MFL and part of all y'all, I can't say enough about you guys, because everybody bring elements together. And I don't want people to think that I'm this wizard, you know what I mean? Because I got some good people. And I tell people all the time, yeah, I don't know everything. I know a little bit about everything, but you bet I'm going to give people their specialty in those fields, like a Robert Gatewood, like Lisa, like Dave Garnett, Mel Forbes, Jamie Duke. I'm going to get people that specialize in their field, because like I say, this is the laboratory of change. We're excited about this, and we just want you to experience it. That's all we want you to do. Come experience it. It don't cost you nothing, as they say, right, Robert? It don't cost you nothing. I want to thank my guest, Robert, for coming on. Robert, our co-host. I want to thank Lisa, our dance team director. This has been another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Richard Myles Sr. I thank you for joining us, and we'll see you Friday. Thank y'all.
Thank you.